secret cabal of powerful men led by Count Dracula, who want to unleash a radioactive strain of the bubonic plague upon the world, thus ensuring the ancient vampire lord's vengeance against mankind. I am your cousin Bobby, and that is the plot of tonight's frightening film, The Satanic Rites of Dracula. This film showcases a classic troika of British horror. Hammer Films, Peter Cushing, and Christopher Lee. I'll talk more about Lee and Cushing at the break, so we'll start with some Hammer history. Formed by comedian Will Hammer in 1934, Hammer's claim to horror fame begins with the 1955 release of their adaptation of the Quatermass Experiment. When it came to the title, Hammer knocked the E off of experiment so that it started with an X. I guess late 90s nu metal bands don't have a monopoly on edgy spelling. The Quatermass Experiment's success led not only to a sequel, but also to their two most famous films, 1957's The Curse of Frankenstein and 1958's Dracula. These set Hammer on a course of genre success in the latter years of the 50s and on through the 60s. Now, along with their Frankenstein and Dracula series, they found success with Universal horror remakes, Psycho ripoffs with titles like Maniac and Paranoiac, and sci-fi titles like 1 Million BC, a movie known for that famous Raquel Welch poster. And yes, all of you men of a certain age, I am talking about that Raquel poster.
Swing! Swing!
What sets Hammer horror apart from other horror films of that time is their use of Eastman color, a process that created colors more lush and vivid than Technicolor. They also used a liberal amount of gore and an undercurrent of sexuality to the goings-on. The films were essentially drawing room melodramas that featured creatures driven by a mix of bloodthirst and lust. As for this film, it's clearly not Hammer's best. The studio was flailing after several flops, and they had mostly dropped the gothic pretense that was once their film's calling card. But despite all that, this film is still very watchable. I can picture the ad copy now. Very watchable, raves Cousin Bobby. So prepare yourselves by getting some red Gatorade and wearing your best ceremonial robe. It's time for The Satanic Rites of Dracula. Born May 26, 1913 in Kenley, England, Peter Cushing is perhaps the actor most associated with Hammer. He came to fame after the back-to-back roles of Victor Frankenstein in Curse of Frankenstein and Van Helsing in Dracula. However, His most well-known role in the mainstream may be as Grand Moff Tarkin in Star Wars. Other iconic roles include Winston Smith in 1984, Mr. Darcy in Pride and Prejudice, the Sheriff of Nottingham, Doctor Who, and Sherlock Holmes. We'll be right back.
Open-minded people.
The spirit of innovation.
Passion.
Action.
Rock and roll.
Cleveland.
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 Cleveland. Cleveland.
We are Cleveland.
Born May 27, 1922 in London, Christopher Lee was more prolific than his close friend Peter Cushing. His first Hammer role was of the creature in Curse of Frankenstein, but the role that propelled him was as the titular count in Dracula. My personal take is that he was the best to have played that role. Yes, even better than Lugosi. His Dracula best exemplifies that mix of menace and sexuality that was key to Hammer. Just like Cushing, he played Sherlock Holmes as well as Sir Henry Baskerville and Mycroft Holmes. Other iconic roles include Saruman, Count Dooku, James Bond villain Francisco Scaramanga, and Lord Summerisle in The Wicker Man. Now back to the Satanic Rites of Dracula.
Professor Julian Keeley.
You know him?
I've met him. He's been here once or twice. But you know him, Grandfather. You know him very well.
Is that true, sir?
Yes, I know him. We met at Oxford. He was reading biochemistry.
Live tonight, we engage an unholy sacrifice for Count Dracula. First, we cut a beast and drain it of its blood.
Dude, you weren't able to get a real cow?
No, I wasn't able to get a real cow. Now, we sacrifice this beast in the name of our unholy lord, Dracula.
But it's already dead.
What?
You can't sacrifice something that's already dead. You even cooked it already.
Okay, all right. I'll figure something out. We'll be right back.
Hi, I am Nicole Carlton, Commissioner of Cleveland EMS. We are looking for State of Ohio certified EMTs and paramedics. If you are ready to answer the calling of providing life-saving emergency medical care to the community and to provide a sense of comfort and relief to others during the most difficult and challenging time in their life, we want you to join the Cleveland EMS team. The greatest privilege is the opportunity to care for others. Opportunities are available now.
Back to the satanic rites of Dracula.
Nisi Dominus Frustra. Foolish man, a bullet cannot harm me. A silver bullet, Dracula.
Kill him! He threatened you!
It cannot be made so simple for him. Not for Van Helsing. Nor for his granddaughter.
Other notable actors who appeared in multiple Hammer films include Oliver Reed, who received his first starring role in 1961's The Curse of the Werewolf, David Prowse, the man behind Darth Vader's mask, and Ingrid Pitt, a scream queen with a whole lot of acting talent. We'll be right back. Cleveland, are you ready for more righteous vampire death? I know I am. Let's do this thing. Time for the stunning conclusion of the Satanic Rites of Dracula.
Where's Jessica?
I have her hidden away.
Well, I suggest you go and find her.
I will, I promise you. But first you must help me.
Help you?
I too want to get away from this place. I'm as much a prisoner as you are.
Yeah, but you live here.
Not by choice. Linda, तुम्हारी अच्छाई Vojni. Hvala mi je sjelo.
In the first moments, every muscle, every fiber will be afire with torment and agony. In the days to come, you will pray for death. Release.
And so you destroy every living soul on this earth, and are left with an empty world to command. Is that what you want, Count Dracula? A last blaze of utter horror and violence? The ghastly annihilation of an entire planet? Is this your own death wish?
With Dracula dead once again and humanity spared a new plague, it is time for the Bobby score. We have a half star for being sort of progressive and giving Jessica some agency, but a negative 1 star for having her be a damsel in distress and having all of the women vampires be super weak. Great retrograde gender stuff there. Good job. A half star for radioactive neutrons apparently being the key to super bubonic plague. 1 star for the cult having high-tech motorcycle security staff that continually gets shot in the face. 1 star for Christopher Lee eating the scenery whole during his final monologue. And 1 star for Agent Torrance asking how you kill a vampire, even though he literally just saw one get staked. That's a total of 3 stars. Remember, Cousin Bobby says watchable. We close tonight with this metal moment. Christopher Lee released 2 full-length symphonic metal concept albums towards the end of his life. Charlemagne by the Sword and Cross and Charlemagne, the Omens of Death. He also released 3 metal EPs, 2 of which were Christmas themed. The 2 full-lengths are worth a listen, as it has Christopher Lee going full ham and spouting lyrics like, "I shed the blood of the Saxon men," and "Let legend mark me as the king of whom future generations will sing." That's all we have for tonight. For I hear my dear Lord Dracula calling me. He commands me to bring him fresh blood. I thank you all for welcoming me into your homes tonight. I hope you all have sweet dreams, for I will be seeing you very, very soon. Good night, Cleveland.